Welcome back to the course of Ansible. I am Praveen and I'm a DevOps engineer who has been taking care of this course. We have completed three modules on Ansible. The first module is introduction. The second module is about the configuration of Ansible. The second module is about installing the AWS cloud servers, 3 to 4 servers we have installed, and we can see that the 3 servers are running as of now, 4 servers are running along with the master. We are already installed Ansible and we made an SSH connectivity happened between those 3 machines so that it won't ask for the password regularly. Yeah, the third module was about Ansible functionality and Ansible configuration, and we discussed a lot about that of inventory files. We discussed about configuration, overriding roles path, overriding default system, Ansible.cfg path, where we also checked about the Python dependencies. We also checked about the configuration, main configuration file. So we are ready. We are ready to take care of Ansible playbooks from now on, and we are having one master server which is configured appropriately, and we are having 3 nodes: node 1, node 2, and node 3. So um, we are also having it configured via Ansible. In the previous lecture, we discussed how it's going to connect using module ping. So I'm going to use module ping, and I'm going to check whether it's able to connect to other 3 nodes, including the local host. That's the existing node as well. So it verified me that it's going to connect to all the 3 nodes, and it's providing success message. So and also if you just go to cat etc Ansible hosts, I can see I have grouped the machines and Apache Web two nodes, one under Apache App Server and the local host as well for under local. So these groupisms have been made, and we have set the Ansible Ansible framework ready. But before creating the playbooks, we need to understand what is playbook. So playbooks are the Ansible configuration, deployment, and orchestration language. Earlier till now, we were just executing the commands which are ad hoc in nature, which are command lines, which are just showing an output in real time, and it's not going to save. It's not going to run as a kind of code. It's not going to run as a kind of a project. So we require something to run as a kind of project. They are termed as playbook. We can add on all those commands, create a form of module, and execute in a YAML configuration file. So let's read. Playbooks are the Ansible configuration, deployment, and orchestration language. So they can describe a policy you want your remote systems to enforce, or set as steps of general IT process. So we can just write in all the rules and regulations in one particular file and deploy those stuffs, whatever we want to do, in the client nodes. That book or that file is called as a playbook. If Ansible modules are tools in your workshop, playbooks are your design plans. So the modules, the ad hoc commands, the roles, or everything are the tools in my workshop, but playbooks are design. How do you going to use those to get the appropriate result? That is done by playbook. How are we organizing tasks in the playbook? We know it organizes in the form of data structure. YAML is a markup language. It resembles an outline or the list of things with basic descriptions. For example, if we wanted to list our favorite movies in the way that YAML processing engines would be able to recognize, our YAML file would contain something like the list of favorite movies. The same thing, the Ansible playbooks will work. You need to just list of all the important things that you need to run on a client machine. If you want to install a package in all the nodes, or maybe like you have 50 nodes or one master server, you can just write the configuration file or the playbook file in such a way that, hey, install this package in all the 49 or 50 nodes. If you want to remove the package, you can remove the package on all the 50 nodes. If you want to update patches, you can do it easily. You can want to remove patches, you can do it easily. Just we need to maintain one playbook file where we write in all the details or all the rules and regulations, what you want to do when you just finish with the work, what you need to get implemented at the destination end. One such example is can be used in package management, network management, and associations and orchestration of logs and configuration files. So the organizing task is a critical part in Ansible Playbook. As we progress further, you will understand how do we organize tasks in Playbook, and that will be in a hierarchy from top to bottom, level by level, one after the other. First in, and it's going to end till it's going to deploy all the packages or all the requirements according to the client. So before we go and write a simple playbook, we are going to understand what is YAML. YAML is a powerful configuration tool for our DevOps toolkit. So, and it's a perfect candidate for compiling and running complex configuration and deployment tasks in our Ansible playbook. So YAML is a normal human readable language where you can just write in the data what you want to do in a client machine, just write in a plain text file, implement in a plain text file, and make sure that it works fine on the destination node. Just write in the file and push it the file. So it's a human readable language. We can just spend some time on the basics of YAML, and it's going to help us in the long run. It's a configuration toolkit. So how did the YAML gonna come up? So during the initial development, YAML was reported to stand yet another markup language, but the advancement and the betterment of the YAML in all the technologies morphed into YAML ain't markup language. In short, YAML is meant to be a human readable data serialization format. In other words, it's meant for non-computers like us to be able to read easily and write the codes easily and recognize the significance of its content without complex translation applications. It was designed to be easy to map high level languages. So we are not worried about C++, Java, any kind of high level language where we are just bothered much on the syntax and codes. But here it's a human readable language. The task what you need to do, just write it in a node of sheet, and we have some kind of parameters to configure, and just we can just make sure it's having the high level properly configured. It's having associated arrays and the data lines configured neatly. So YAML, if you want to just discuss more about the YAML, just we can just go into the Google, get all the application files or kind of examples for YAMLs available. So it's a markup language. If you just go to the type in your YAML examples, so we can able to see that YAML is having a website. It's open source, and you can see it's written in a human readable format, and you can just download this package, start working on it. So now we have gone through what is Playbook, how to organize tasks inside the Playbook, what is YAML, how to use YAML as in human readable language. We are going to just start writing a playbook. Before we start writing a playbook, we need to configure the Ansible account securely. I just want to explain you what does happen if the Ansible account is open. So let me just go to the master file, and let me go to etc Ansible, the where does our configuration file exists. Now we can see, we can just write Ansible all -m ping. It's going to ping all the machines in the host file. That's going to prove us that okay, the functionality of ping is for running fine, and it's good. But if you want to secure Ansible account, this is the Ansible account. If you want to secure Ansible account, as our slide says, we have to set up an account to use for Ansible. Let's finish securing it and allowing sudo writes without having to log in each time, so it can run rapidly. So what we can do now is, like, if you want to secure Ansible, we can just sudo vi ansible.cfg and just remove the hash. It's gonna ask password every time, I believe. Like if you just type this one, it's gonna ask sudo password every time. With just removing a single hash in the configuration file, we are almost secure Ansible configuration, because if someone isn't aware of the Ansible technology, then he or she is gonna execute arbitrary commands that will deploy the whole, that will disturb the whole infrastructure. In order to secure, we can always set a sudo password for this. The sudo password is gonna function as a master password, and only the person who knows the sudo password can administer the infrastructure environment using Ansible. Since we are using a development environment here, so a test lab environment, I'm going to not use this as security methodology for because every time it's going to ask password and the master password, which is actually not good. for us to explain in a lab environment. So we just configured Ansible account which is non-secure. If you want to make it secure, as I told you, just go to the Ansible configuration file, remove the sudo underscore pass hash, or make sure that it is a false in nature. Just save it, and it's going to ask master password every time if you want to execute an Ansible command. Even a ping, it's going to ask you master password every time. So there we are configured the Ansible account. We are already secured sudo rights without have to log in each time, which will run interactively. So we did that as well. We need to make sure that all the test account is having sudo to root. So this is having sudo to root. Yes, test account is having sudo to root. I'm going to come out of this account machine. I'm going to use the same thing. This machine is node 1 is having sudo to root. Yes, it's having sudo to root. Come out of the machine. Node 2 is having sudo to root. This is actually required because Ansible thinks each user account is having sudo to root, so that execution of super commands are easy. How did we make sudo to root? As you go in the module 1, we have just go to vi etc sudo ers, and its permission is right, sudo vi etc. Just go to the bottom, you can see we have already given sudo to root privileges for test account. I'm going to clear the screen of all the nodes. Yeah, we have configured the Ansible account securely. As we did earlier, how to interact with Ansible with other nodes, we have already executed some pre-based commands to make sure that the ping command module works properly, the shell command works properly, and a kind of all the commands work in ad hoc mode properly. Let me check one more time if it's able to work properly. So I'm using a shell command where it's having a sudo privilege. So shell -a yum list installed grep telnet. It is going to check telnet is installed, is telnet is present, whether the telnet is present in all the other machines or not. Yes, I can see the telnet is present in 157 localhost, but it's failed to connect 151. I am not sure what is the reason. Let me just check. (158) as well. Oops, it's not failed to connect to that machine. This shows that there is no telnet installed on these two machines. The red color mark shows there is no telnet installed on these two machines. If I just type sshd, let me see if there is any. So that's a service, that's not a package. So let me just verify. Yeah, I'm going to show Python. Python we tested earlier, that is installed in all the machines. We're going to see whether it's installed on all the machines using this command. It should show red if there is a Python not installed, and I can see it's installed in 151. It's installed in 157, shows success. It's installed in localhost, it should show. Yeah, it's installed in 158 as well. So all the machines have Python installed. So since you check telnet, the server which shows red indicates that the telnet is not installed on this machine. This is not confirming us that okay, we are not able to connect to this machine. This is to prove that okay, there are no telnet packages available in this machine. If I'm going to this machine, I'm just logging into that machine using test account from master. I just logged in into this machine. I'm going to remove the telnet. Yum remove. Yeah, I have removed the telnet. I logged out of the machine. I'm going to use the same command again to check whether telnet is installed or not. I can see 157 now failed because I have removed the package in 157. I'm gonna just change the preferences. Okay, so Ansible command line, we tested a lot of the stuffs in command line. Yeah, before writing a appropriate simple playbook, we are gonna see what does a facts command do. What is meant by Ansible system facts? What is meant by Ansible system facts? So let me just start with the lecture of Ansible system facts. We're gonna see Ansible all -m ping. It is gonna show us. It's gonna connect to all machines, including the local host. Yes, it's working fine. Um, cat etc Ansible grep-i host, cat etc Ansible hosts. It's gonna show app web, Apache server, Apache web app server localhost configured in etc host. So if I type Ansible app server -m ping, it should ping. Yes, it's pinging fine. So what is meant by system facts? We are discussing about something called system facts. How Ansible discloses information on remote systems and how to filter it to get a desired results. I want to get system information of all the nodes present here. I want to get system information of 158, system information of 157, system information of 151. How do you get all the information? We have already learned something called setup module, which is going to grab all the information. You can just type the command called Ansible local -m setup more. So this is going to give me information of current system, which is a local. If I just type all instead of local, this is going to give me information of all the systems. So this is what is a fact we were discussing about. These are called system architecture or system facts. But how do we make sure this is put up in a proper format? So what we can do is we can go to temp directory, and I can see that there's nothing created as of now. I can gather all the system facts in that particular directory. You can just type Ansible local. So you can just type Ansible all -m setup -tree /temp/system facts .txt. This is going to grab all the information of system information from all the nodes and put in the details in a temp system facts. I'm going to enter to check how fast it's going to do the work. We started with the first module, the introduction to Ansible as a class. Let me just go to that module now. We started with introduction of Ansible. We started what Ansible is. Okay, just have a quick overview of stuff whatever we have done so far. So we started with introduction to Ansible, then we discussed what Ansible is, then we discussed about the architecture of Ansible. We also discussed why Ansible is used compared to other kind of configuration tools and orchestration tools or maybe deployment tools. We discussed why it's different. We just compared with the other tools across the world which the infrastructure has been running. Then we set up the Ansible. We used Amazon AWS servers. We used 4 nodes of T2.micro configuration. We are used RHEL 7 machines, and we launched Amazon Cloud, where we can just see here. We have launched 4 servers. One is a master and 3 other nodes for our environment setup. So we grabbed all the public and the private information of the public IP and the public IP and the private IPs of the machine, and we pasted it here in the notepad, where it's easy for us to demonstrate Ansible. So we just did that and copied yesterday. Apart from that, we also installed Ansible on each of the machines, and we can make sure that its SSH protocol connectivity is asking without any password. So we did installation of Ansible, we did make sure that the master server is able to connect to all the other three nodes. The node 1 is able to connect to master and the rest of the nodes, and the vice versa. So we copied the SSH keys and make sure that it's passwordless between each machines. We also did creation of users, and we are going to use test user accounts across all the servers, including master. Then we installed Ansible, and we verified Ansible is installed using the command Ansible -- version. So if we use this command, it's going to verify latest version of Ansible installed. We just installed this on all the other servers yesterday. Yeah, it's passwordless SSH between all the machines. We just tested that as well. Just we can use a test SSH test and put in the server IP of other machine to make sure that the passwordless SSH works. 158, and yeah, it's working fine, and that's been tested yesterday. And we also did some of the concepts yesterday. After installation, we did configuring the Ansible using Ansible configuration file, where we can see that in a configuration file in this path etc Ansible, and you can see Ansible configuration file is available. We did take a backup. We went through the file. We just make sure that the concepts which are important in this are noted down. We check out the Python dependencies in the previous class. We try to override the Ansible CFG file. We try to override the roles file. We try to write the Ansible host files, and this is one of the important files. So if you want to check what host file we have written, we just need to cat etc Ansible hosts. Here we have defined our nodes into Apache Web group, where we are having two nodes, and we are having one node under Apache server. So we are grouped under app server. The master node has been noted as a local, which is made as a local host. So this is a host file. In order to verify the host file, we also did this command, where it's going to check whether I am able to communicate with each other nodes and the master. So I am going to use this command Ansible all -module ping. This ping module is going to test whether all the other nodes 157, 158, 151, and including the local node is having no proper having a proper communication mechanism, and there is no password problems happening, because the only thing is, like, Ansible works with SSH protocol, so it does not require any password. We just check with host file. We did some of the Ansible modules as well. We did check the Ansible tasks previously, and just gave a brief information of modules and tasks, because we are having a huge chapters coming up with modules and tasks. And we did some of the ad hoc commands. And today we are going to start with Ansible Playbooks, which is one of the important concepts in Ansible configuration management and deployment. So what is an Ansible Playbook? Ansible Playbook is nothing but a kind of file which are used to deploy, orchestrate, and manage configuration in an infrastructure environment. So they can describe a policy if you want to execute in a remote systems. We imagine we are having almost 40 servers, when we want to deploy a kind of policy on all those 40 servers. How do we do that? We require a kind of scripting file. Earlier, we used to write a kind of bash script, Perl script, and Python script and deploy it across the machines and run it. But how does Ansible do this? Ansible does this using a kind of playbook. Whatever you want, you can just write it in the form of simple English language, and you can execute the tasks at the destination host using a language called YAML. That's ain't markup language. That's a kind of human readable language. You can write in the codes, you can write in what that needs to be executed in the remote missions, and you can execute that using a YAML file. So Ansible Playbook, the moment we write the playbook, it has all the tasks involved, including modules, roles, tasks, handlers, templates, everything can be included in one playbook and deployed into the destination nodes. They are actually high design plans, and this is an overview. So how do you organize a task in Ansible Playbook? It's just simple, like just note it down in a sheet of paper or in a sheet of file to make sure that what needs to be done in a destination server. You can organize one by one in a serial order, and Ansible runs serially from top to bottom approach. Whatever you write at the first, it's gonna approach and execute them. So as it works as a form of a data structure. Ansible uses YAML file. YAML is closely resembles an outline or the list of things with their basic descriptions. For example, if we wanted to list our favorite movies in the way that YAML processing engines would be able to recognize, then one example is as shown below. Just write in the Ansible file using YAML configuration, and make sure that you write it in one by one as a hyphen category, like the Terminator, the Star Trek, the Star Wars. You will come to know, the more we write Ansible playbooks in future, you will understand what playbooks is. And now we are going to discuss about YAML. YAML is a powerful configuration tool for our DevOps toolkit, and it's a perfect candidate for compiling and running complex configuration and deployment tasks in our Ansible playbooks. The moment we write the playbook, you'll understand how Ansible is going to be so quick to deploy the production tasks or development tasks, and it's going to do it very fast. And it does require just a simple human readable format to understand the codes, and we can deploy it very fast. No need to understand a huge kind of Python programming or Perl programming. You just need to understand the simple human readable language. That's YAML, and its capabilities are very much useful. During its initial development, YAML was reported to stand for yet another markup language, but the acronym is morphed to YAML Ain't Markup Language. In short, YAML is meant to be a human readable, as I told you some time back, and it's very easy for computers to understand and recognize and significant without much complex translations at the back end. Now we are here to write a playbook, and to make sure that Ansible is configured properly. As we discussed earlier, we know that the Ansible is usually run using the command called Ansible -m all. It's all -m ping. So when you're running the Ansible command, it does not have any security privilege. So anyone can run Ansible command and make sure that it's executing at the destination nodes. But this security can be overridden. You can actually give password for running an Ansible command, just to run this Ansible command using a master file. How do we do that? So that's what is we are going to discuss now. So we are just configuring the Ansible account. We have to set up an account to use Ansible. Now we already set up an Ansible account as in the previous class. Just it's going to show us what we should do. But if you want to make sure that Ansible is secured, if you want to make sure that if someone is does not use it on a wrong sense, then what we can do is we can set a password for that, the master password. We can go to ansible.cfg file. We have already taken the backup.original, so I'm going to edit ansible.cfg. Go to ask pass, search for ask sudo pass. Just enable that. Yeah, enable it, save it. But it won't allow me to save because we are doing it as a test user. I need to use sudo to change that configuration. Ansible.cfg. Just go to ask, search for the ask underscore sudo underscore pass, and remove the hash. Just save it. Now if you just type Ansible, and if you want to execute any command at the destination, it is gonna ask me password every time. So Ansible all -m ping. Even if you want to connect, check whether the ping is happening or not, it asks for the sudo password. This level of security is maintained. So it's something like, if you are an Ansible engineer, you are the only person who's going to manage the entire infrastructure, and you have the sudo to master privilege. You have the master password. I'm just going to put the password, and it's going to check every time. If I just use this command, it's going to ask for a password. Not only this command, any kind of Ansible command which you want to do some changes in the destination. If I want to check whether ftp is installed in the destination host, how do I do that? I can just use Ansible all. It's going to check on all hosts. -s is a sudo, -m is a module, shell is a module, -a is a command which you want to execute, yum install yum list installed grep with ftp. This command is Ansible Ad Hoc Command, as we discussed in the previous class. Ansible Ad Hoc Command is going to execute commands in real time. So this command checks whether there's FTP installed in all the machines in a host file. It is using a sudo privilege. It is using a module called shell. It is running a command called yum list install grep ftp. It is gonna ask sudo password now, because this way of security we have made it. If it doesn't, if you don't want to ask a sudo password, just edit the file. Edit the file, change, make sure you revert back the changes what we did earlier, and save it. The moment we save it, it is not going to ask password, because we have removed the security privileges. Now I'm going to execute the command to check whether I have installed FTP or not. Yes, I can see in all the machines there is a FTP installed. So this is a ad hoc command which is going to give us output in real time, as we discussed. So now we understood the sudo capability. If I just go again and enable it, I'm going to ask underscore sudo pass enable it. Now if I execute the command, it is going to ask me the password. Just put in the password, and we can see the stuff is the command is getting executed at the remote host. Such kind of privilege and security has been maintained using Ansible. I'm going to go remove this, because we are anyhow using it in a test environment here. So I just don't want to put password every time to execute and test my Ansible environment. Clear the screen. Now we have set up an account for use of Ansible, and we are secured using a sudo rights without having to log in each time. If you want to log into Ansible each time, you can do that as well. Let me just run some kind of Ansible ad hoc commands, as we did in the previous class. So one command is like, we just checked whether Ansible is installed using this command. If I want to check only in Apache Web, what I do is I just go Apache Web, type in Apache Web, and it's going to check only the hosts which are mentioned in Apache Web. And if I want to check only in app server, I can give app. Okay, we know that there's no group called app server which is listed in host file, and it is app server which is listed. Yeah, I can see the output which is telling me that okay, there is a FTP installed on this machine. These ad hoc commands should be integrated in the form of playbook. So that's the task right now. So that's the task right now. How do we write our first playbook? So we also discussed about system facts in the previous class. We also discussed about how do we use system facts, collect information in the previous class. Now we are going to write our first playbook. So let's concentrate on writing from first playbook. So we need to create a directory called playbook in my home directory. I go here, and there's already playbooks available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that directory to another directory, playbook backup. And I see there is no directory. So let's create a directory called playbook with capital P. I'm not bothered about the directory which is having a small letter p. So playbooks, and inside this we are going to write all our playbooks. So let's start our first playbook. What we need to do is we need to just vi. Before using vi, let's install Vim Editor. So let's install Vim Editor in all our machines. So because using Vim Editor, it's easy to differentiate us the highlight parameter in YAML file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all ad hoc command. I'm going to install a package called Vim in all the machines. So I can do using ad hoc. Later I'm going to explain you how to do it via Ansible playbook file. Okay. Ansible -a. So what I'm going to do now is shell. I will use yum module because yum is a module which installs a package instead of shell, and -a to execute the command. I use package equal to Vim. I want to install Vim package, which is a advanced Vi editor. I will put state equal to install update underscore cache equal to true. It's going to update the cache once the package is installed. So this command is going to install the Vim package in all the nodes. So let's see. It just execute the command to make sure that it installs packages in all the nodes. Yes, it installed on actually in 158 server. We can see the package was already installed in 158 in this node. Okay, there's a technical glitch which is happening. Fine. So we can see that Vim is already installed here, and if it's not installed, it's going to install in the other three machines, which is just installed right now. So if I want to verify whether it's installed or not, just execute the Ansible Ad Hoc command. Instead of FTP, just type Vim. It's going to show yes, the Vim is installed on all the machines. Yeah, that's fine. So Vim. So let me just type Vim. Oops, it is not checking in all the machines. Checked only in the app server. So I'm gonna check in all the machines. Let's see if it's installed on all the machines. Yes, you can see the Vim is installed in all the machines. Now I'm going to create one new first playbook file. Our task is to create a first playbook file. So this is our task as of now. Writing our first playbook. The only task what we are going to do now is how do you put all the ad hoc commands into a playbook file. We can just write my first playbook.yml. I'm going to start writing my file. You can start with 3 dashes hash my first playbook. Then start with defining the hosts. So what are the stuffs we want? We want hosts, and defining the host where we should do that. We should do it in all. Okay, let's do it in all. Then we are going to put tasks. Remember one thing, the spaces here is not tabbed. If you use tab when writing a YAML configuration file or a playbook, then it is going to throw you error. Do not use tab, use spacebar for writing a code for every space. So here what I'm going to do is install the Tomcat server. Earlier we installed FTP using command line. Earlier we installed Vim using command line. Now I'm going to install Tomcat using command line. Using playbook. So just follow the steps. Yum. Whatever I used to do in a command line ad hoc command, I'm going to write a playbook file. Package equal to, it's a simple language. State equal to install. Update underscore cache equal to true. So that's it. So this playbook file is gonna install the package called Tomcat into all the machines. But before we install it on all the machines, we can actually install only in Apache Web. We can actually install only in Apache Web. Once we installed, just save this. So now we are ready to check the file. But before running, let's have a kind of verification of Ansible YAML file. So what I'm going to do is use the command Ansible Playbook my first YAML file --check will check the syntax of my file, and it's gonna just check whether this file is gonna execute, and it's gonna yes. this hyphen check tells me that in these two machines there is an Tomcat not installed. If I remove this hyphen check and execute this command, then it is going to install Tomcat. Remember one thing, this hyphen check does not install Tomcat. Since it's showing in yellow, it is getting changed. That means that Tomcat is not installed. So I can just go verify. I can just go here and in my client machine, just uh, switch to test user and sudo yum list installed and grep -i tomcat. I can see there's no tomcat installed, even though it's just checking whether I can install it or not. This checks and proves me a point that yes, you can install, and there will be a change if I use hyphen check option. If I don't use hyphen check option, it is going to install on the particular machine. We need to use so if this kind of situation exists, like you can see, you need to be root to perform this command, because package management is done by a root command. So but we have sudo to root privilege. What we can do is we can use a command called ansible hyphen, let me clear the screen. So I can use Ansible hyphen playbook and space hyphen s, which is gonna prove me that there is a sudo to root privilege. This test account in my node has having sudo to root privileges. How do you confirm? Sudo hyphen l. If you just type sudo hyphen l, you can see I have a test to root sudo privilege for every machine which I set in the first class. So this one, if I just run using a hyphen s option, it is going to install Tomcat. Remember, I'm not using hyphen check option. I want this to get changed in my machine, so I'm going to install it. So it's taking some time to install. Yeah, it's installed on 157 now. So let's go to 157 server, check whether it's installed or not. Sudo yum list installed. Grep -i tomcat. Now it is showing that the tomcat is installed. The same thing I can check in 158 sudo yum list installed grep -i tomcat. I can see Tomcat is installed, but it's not installed in 151 because I have just given Apache web group. If I just rerun the command, it is gonna tell okay. Instead of change, it's gonna tell okay. It is gonna check whether we have a package available. It's installed. Yes. Then if it is a yes, then it's gonna tell okay. So this green shows us that the package is already available in 158, 157. Now what I can do is I can edit the my first playbook file, YAML file, and I'm gonna change host to all. Now this must re-execute Ansible Playbook file, execute install Tomcat on all the machines. If it is installed, it is going to show green. If it is not installed, it is going to install and show it is yellow. You can see 157 server, 158 server is already been installed. So it's all clear from that. But if it's not installed, it is going to install on local machine, that's current machine, master machine which I am working, and 151 which is going to change. If I do it again, re-execute the command, it is going to execute the same thing in all the servers. Yeah. Then we can see that the installation of Tomcat is done. What we have done just now, we have just written a playbook, first playbook file, and we have just done the most of the work which we used to do it by ad hoc command. That's it. Hope you are understanding about the first playbook, how we have written a simple command line to make sure that we can install it on all the machines. So that's it with the first playbook file. So in few minutes we're going to start with variables. How do you use variables inside the playbook file? And let's start with that now. Concept, and we are going to use variables. How do we use variables in a YAML configuration file and in our playbooks? The YAML configuration file and the playbooks are almost like Okay, so let's start writing playbooks using variables. We're going to use variables in our YAML configuration file, and playbooks. YAML configuration file and playbooks are one and the same. So we use some kind of variables if you want to define any kind of external parameters or internal parameters, any kind of linkages. We can use a variable. So in this introduction to variables in our playbooks, we look at how to define the list of variables as and how and when to include, whether it should include inside the file or external to the file. So let's go with our own example of my first playbook. Just I'm going to copy the whole thing of my first playbook YAML to my first playbook dot no, variable along with the variable. So I'm going to save it. I use Vim to make sure that my first playbook dot underscore variable is open. The moment I open Vim, there's a first playbook heading, so I can just edit it with along with the variables. So what we can do now is we can just add in a new line called variables all below the hosts here. We can just add vars. Vars is a variable command. We can just vars and colon. You can add in all the variables if you want, like if you want to add a equal to b, if you want to tell my root user equal to root, maybe I think we need to use something called colon rather than equal to. Here we need to use colon, and that corresponds like what is equal to what, and we are defining, and we can use define variables and use them in entire playbook. So another one is like my control underscore server or master server is 172 172.31.2.156 is my master server. I think we need to give a gap here. Yes. So we are defining the variable, so we need to just equals then give a gap. It's going to tell us, okay, these are my variables. So just give a gap like this. We define some variables. We can also define, if you are running an Apache host, we must not use tabs, as I told you earlier. So we must not use tabs. We are using tabs, which is going to throw us wrong. So what we need to do is, I'm just not going to save this file. I'm going to open the file again, and I'm coming below the host. Use spaces instead of tabs. If you use tabs, the YAML configuration file, the playbook is going to throw us error. Use spaces. Control underscore server is space 172.31.2.156 spaces. Use spaces. That's very much important. If you're using the Apache server, you can just define the web root like this: var www. /html. We can define the index file using web root, or you can normally define my user is root, or you can define update my file, and you can define 444, any kind of stuff, and save. We have defined variables which are dummy variables. These can be defined whenever we want to write a playbook file, and we can use them. I did not add the heading, so I'm going to just go to the top of the line and type with variables. So just save it. Now the thing is, like, it's a dummy variable, and I need to run it. I can use the command Ansible Playbook, and I'm going to run the command. But let's go through the playbook again. So what does the playbook tell? It is going to have the variables, like but it is gonna check and run the tasks once the variables files are executed. These are dummy files. It must not show any error as of now, and it should go and check with the Tomcat installation server on all the hosts. So I can just type Ansible Playbook my first playbook underscore variable dot YML it's going to start executing my YAML file and installing the Tomcat. Since the Tomcat is already installed, it's going to show green. So nothing is having a problem. You can just see how the way the YAML file is getting executed, our playbook is executed. It's asynchronized the way. So if I just see, it is going to check the hosts that is I have defined already. It is going to check the variables. Since the variables are already defined, it does not do anything because these variables are not at all used in our playbook file. So the next task what I'm going to do now is, like, it is going to check for the tasks. It is going to check tasks and installs on all the servers. So this is what is the your first playbook with variable does. But if you want to, this is a inline variable. As I discussed here, we are in process of discussing defining list of inline variables which should include them inline, and we're going to discuss with external now. What we can do now is I'm going to use Vim and put external variables. I'm going to put external variables like we can put external variables like we can just go to the bottom of the file and type vr underscore file is2 and type vars.yml vars.yml file. We can see that I'm defining an variable file external using var underscore files and defining it in a file called vars.yml. I'm just indicating this vars.yml. Even the file is not there, it is gonna see. Let me see whether this file is going to execute or not. Yeah, we are getting file because error problem because we can have multiple files interlinked outside the variable. So what I'm going to do is go here, put in vars underscore files. We're going to put var underscore files. If you have observed, we can define variables external to the file. We can define variables internally to the file using vars. So let me just see if it's going to work properly or not. So just execute the command. So we are still facing issues with defining the files externally. So I think we need to just do a little bit of change in defining external var files. So okay, I'm gonna do this to execute the file, check whether it's working fine or not. We can see the vars file was not found. The vars file is not found because we don't have that YAML configuration file in our machine. So what we can do is we can put in the path /home/test/vars.yml. So that let me create one file here, namely vim. I'm going to put touch vars.yml. I'm going to my playbook and execute the command to check whether it's not showing any problem, and it's actually linking to the external vars file. So it's installing the Tomcat in order. Okay, the vars file root was not found. So let me just go edit the file. So eventually you can just see the playbook file is trying to connect to the file which is listed outside. Let me just put playbooks/ and touch. I'm going to do a touch vars.yml. Let me verify again. Yeah, save it. Then we can execute the command to check whether it's running fine or not. So that's the empty file showing was not found. Okay, so what we can do is, but we got a proof that it's going to connect to the external var file. Let's see. We got a proof it's actually connecting to the var file which is external to the playbook. So we are able to make sure that we can able to connect internally, or we can able to connect externally using variables. Var file v was not found. If you need appropriate linking, we can just need to put appropriate linking or put in a hash. We can actually link it externally, run the execute command. Yeah, this is actually required when we are able to link internal files and external files. So there's no object, you can see there's no object. So what we can do is remove the external file. These are required when you are able to configure a huge and big environment and you want to link external files to external configuration to internal configuration and check whether it's installed or not. Yes, it's fine. We just now checked how to use variables inside the file, how to connect external files to use variables which are defined externally and put it inside the playbook file. External variables which want to define inside the variables required a certain kind of applications where we can integrate from external application to internal application. We need to run at least Apache or the Tomcat installed. So let's go stick with a next concept called the target section. So here in a target section, which I want to explain you in this lecture, is that you can define a target what you want to run when the playbook is running. So you can figure out yourself and define your own target. So what actually the target mean? Let me just explain you using a simple configuration file. I am just going to copy my playbook file called my first playbook underscore variable to my first playbook underscore target dot yml. So now I'm going to explain of now I'm going to explain a target configuration file, YAML configuration, but how are we going to define it? Vim my first target YAML file, my first playbook underscore target YAML file, and I'm gonna put here along with targets. What are these targets means? So we eventually can define the target very much useful. Imagine this target section of YAML file or a playbook file is used when the playbook has been copied from this machine and that should be executed in other machine in another environment. The playbook is defined to write or to define to execute using certain conditions. What are those conditions? I want the playbook to be executed using a user test itself. I don't want to run it via other user. I want to use this playbook using sudo. I want to use this playbook using any kind of SSH protocol. You define your playbook in such a way that this playbook can be used in any host or in any environment. So that means the playbook can be copied and used multiple times. How do we do that? Because we just can't do this, copy this playbook and execute in another environment, but we want to make sure we define some kind of targets. Targets are something defined variables where it's going to use it in any kind of environment. So what I'm going to do now in my playbook is below the host I'm going to put space. Remember, do not use tab, use a I'm defining a target in such a way that this playbook should be run only via test user. So you're defining your target, and this playbook should run only if you are having a sudo access, and this should run only if you are having SSH protocol defined. If this playbook can gather facts, I can show you what gather facts means. I will put no as of now. These are the targets. So these are the targets you defined. These should run wherever the playbook has been copied in any other kind of machines or any kind of nodes, any kind of other infrastructure environment. So I'm going to save this now. I'm going to save that now. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to just run that command using Ansible Playbook. Remember, we have variables still defined inside. We can use those variables whenever we want according to our requirements in the playbook. So I'm going to just write my first playbook underscore target. The moment I write, you can see here it tries to use sudo. and it is telling it is a method of becoming a sudo user, and it is using the test command. If I just edit the file and I can just uh, remove test, I can type a unknown user called ran and tries to use the command user using user ran. It is gonna show me error because there is no user called ran. If you try to copy this file and put it in another machine or any kind of other environment, it tries to run via user ran, which does not have a sudo privilege. So I can try to change this user root. Let me see if root has got privileges to check the Tomcat installation or not. Even root does not have. The reason is because it should require a certain kind of privilege, because Ansible is running in such a way that we are all defined in master server and require only test user to run this command. So you can define users such a way that it is only required test, and because test user is can able to connect to all the privileges. So I'm going to use define test here. And one more thing is like, if I don't want to use sudo, just hash it and run the file. Yeah, now I'm able to run the Ansible playbook using the user test itself. This is a critical point. So where you can just copy this playbook file into any other machine, but it should run as a test user. It will not run via root user. It will not run via any other user. So that's why we are defining a target called user equal to test. The another important thing is I'm going to uninstall Tomcat in this machine. So what I'm doing is sudo yum remove Tomcat. I'm going to uninstall the Tomcat in this machine. So I'm going to just clean all, yum clean all, cleaned up, and I can just try to check whether I can able to install Tomcat in this machine, because we uninstalled it in this machine. Yeah, the reason why it is not installing is it should be a root to perform this operation, and only user test is having sudo to root permission to perform this operation. I can use -s option here to install. If I just use -s option, I can just install the Tomcat, because we are telling the Ansible playbook for the user test to switch to root whenever you want to do any kind of root privileged operation, something like installation. Now I'm going to uninstall the same thing in 158. I'm going to just uninstall the same thing in 158. I'm just going to clean this up because it's showing. Okay, yes, okay. Now instead of defining -s option in the command line while running a playbook, I can go to this I can go to my configuration YAML file, first playbook target file. I can define sudo here. This is what is a target section is all about. Save it, and I removed the Tomcat package in that machine. I'm gonna earlier when I am not using -s, it used to show me an error. But now I'm not going to use -s and run it. Now it is going to install. The reason being, we have we have already mentioned a target called sudo is equal to s in this particular YAML configuration file. We already mentioned sudo equal to s, so no need to use -s option when we are running a playbook. So this is it. This lecture is all about target, and I hope you understood what target means. That means you're defining what should do for a playbook wherever you have copied that particular playbook environment. If you want to run this playbook file in any kind of other nodes, you need to make sure that you are having a user called test, and that test user should have a sudo to root privileges, and also it should have a kind of targets mentioned, something like connection should be ssh and sudo and user. I just forgot to tell one more thing here. We have something called gather underscore facts. The moment I run this, there is nothing called gather underscore facts. It's not gathering any facts. What I can do is let me just edit the file and show what gather underscore facts is changed to yes. What is going to happen? It is going to throw me all the output when I run the playbook. gather underscore fact, it should show all the output, but I think, let me just see. Gather underscore facts should be, yes. That means if I just execute this command, it's gonna gather all the facts under temp, and it's gonna save in system facts. So this is why you can mention whether you want to gather the facts into local and load into slash temp, or you don't want the system facts to be loaded. So let me verify again. Ansible hyphen all hyphen m ping to make sure that my Ansible environment is intact. Yes, it's intact. So this is all about creating a target section, and I hope you understood what target means, and we have learned to create a playbook file from scratch. We have learned to create a playbook file, initial playbook file. We have learned to define variables. We have learned to define targets now. So we have defined the targets, and we have used a single task called installation of Tomcat server, and we have uninstalled the Tomcat server in some of the machines, and we try to install it back via Ansible. So we already had a success in installing Tomcat if it's not installed. If I want to remove um, any kind of package, we can do that in a few next sections. So thank you for this lecture. Then we're going to start with a new lecture called tasks now. This is another important in a playbook configuration file. So let's define the task section in a few minutes. Welcome back to Ansible for configuration management and deployment. I am Praveen, and we were in middle of the task of writing a playbook section. As of now, we have completed writing a playbook section for a target module using a variables, using a normal first playbook, and we all know that we have earlier discussed about system facts information when writing a playbook. So now in this lecture we are going to start discussing on task section, how critical the task section is, and we want to discuss one point which we left in variables. We discussed how variables can be linked externally. We discussed how variables can be written inside the playbook file. Now in this section we are going to discuss about tasks and writing one kind of variable here. So to start with, I can see the list of my playbooks written here along with the kind of modules or the lectures we discussed. So I'm going to copy one of the um, first playbook module named target, copy it, paste it, and make a new file called tasks. Usually tasks are written in an every kind of normal playbook. It's nothing but a task. It by default should have a task written for that as well. So I'm going to edit this file which we just copied and renamed it. My first playbook along with targets and tasks. We all know that we are using this tasks tab since the time we are writing the playbook, and this is what we were speaking about. This is what is a lecture about. I can add multiple tasks, hundreds tasks or n number of tasks, and keep on increasing the playbook, and we can just make sure that that can be executed on all the client nodes or only specific nodes, something like Apache app server or Apache web, as we discussed. Now I'm going to do is create, these are all blank variables. I will create a variable which in such a way that it is going to prompt me something. So one kind of variable which we can create, which we did not discuss in variable classes, we can actually create what's underscore prompt. So what does this do is this was underscore prompt is going to prompt me for something when we run the playbook. It's like an interactive. So what I can do is just hyphen space name is to do you want to run the below tasks. So it is going to ask me, we can just make sure that there's ask the questions whenever we run the playbook. So I'm just going to type, do you want to run this below task as a prompt. It's going to come as a prompt, and you need to um, do you want to run the below task, sorry, So I need to copy this, paste it here, and I'm gonna do a name change for this. This is just a name, so I'm gonna remove this. Type prompt. I'm gonna use installation. So only about Tomcat installation. Let me change the installation to something called Logwatch. It's application and it's a package. We can just change the package to Logwatch. Logwatch. Remember, we are just writing it tasks, the task module, and the module has been defined. What I'm gonna do is I can add external other tasks. I can just copy this whole thing and paste it and change install the htop package. Change the spelling, package. So this package is gonna change to htop space it. I'm gonna save this now. Once I'm saving this, let me just check the playbook configuration is appropriate or not. So Ansible Playbook, my first playbook underscore tasks dot YML. So hyphen check. It is going to run in all the client nodes. It is going to check whether Logwatch should be installed or not. If it is not installed in the client nodes, it's going to install Logwatch in the client nodes. It's going to check whether htop to be installed in the or not in the client nodes. If it is not present in the client nodes, it's going to install in the client nodes. If it is present, it is going to show in green color. If it is not present, it's going to show in yellow color. But remember, this hyphen check will not do any changes in the client machines. It is going to check the possibility if you don't use the hyphen check option. If it's going to check the possibility, so I can just run it, install. It is checking whether it's possible or not. I think all the packages are installed on this machine. Let me just check whether htop and everything is installed in this machine as well. Htop, yeah, htop is installed. Logwatch, Logwatch is not installed. Which Logwatch? No, Logwatch is installed in 158, and how it is showing the Logwatches. So let me just check the configuration file. That's right. This is hyphen check option. It is just checking whether it can be installed or not, whether it's going to check whether the package is available or not on that particular machine. I'm going to remove this hyphen check and try running the YAML configuration file. I believe it's just checking the Tomcat server. It is not taking the appropriate file, I think. I need to copy this, paste the task configuration file. That's right. I'm running the old task configuration file. That's very bad. So what I can do is check the latest file which I renamed. Check which file I have the tasks. Okay. This does not have. So I think I have not saved the file. Once I have created the file, what I will do is Vim. I'm going to take this file, tasks file. I'm going to paste it, and along with the targets, along with tasks. So I will create a variable as I discussed earlier. Yeah, I'm going to just create a variable prompt. What's underscore prompt. What's underscore prompt, and I'm going to write a name as I defined before. Remember, don't use tab. Name prompt install the below packages. So it's going to ask us whether should I install the below packages or not, and let me just change install the logwatch package, and we can just change the yum package to logwatch, and I'll add another task, install the I can add htop package as I discussed. Or don't need to tab yum is to package equal to htop state equal to installed update underscore cache equal to true. This is uh, gonna this is gonna run on all the hosts using the user test. It's gonna use sudo, it's gonna use ssh, it's gonna gather the facts. These variables are dummy variables. This wars underscore prompt is critical here. This is gonna prompt and ask the permission for us whether should I execute the below tasks. If you press enter, then it is going to execute the below task. It is just a prompting mechanism to make sure that this is running good before you run the task. I'm gonna save this, check whether the file is updated or not, because last time we did not save it and we did not update, we were running a wrong file. And I can see this is executable, and I'm going to just check whether it's happening proper or not. That's checking the syntax and checking whether if you run this particular playbook, it's going to affect positively or negatively. As you can see, when I use ---- check option as well, it's going to ask me whether I can install these packages or not. You can just press enter and it is going to execute the playbook file. It is going to install the logwatch package in the destination servers. If it is not installed, it is going to install using a changed yellow color. If it is installed, it's going to change. Yeah, it's already installed. So it installs two packages. One is logwatch, one is htop. Htop was already installed on all the machines. If I want to if I want to remember, we are used ---- check package, command. So if you just go to this machine and check whether logwatch is there or not, it is gonna tell there's no logwatch because we use ---- check option. If you want to make it permanent, remove the ---- check, execute. It's gonna ask again whether I should install the packages or not. You press enter, make sure it is gonna install logwatch packages. And htop packages, everything. I rerun it again to make sure that everything should be green, and it's gonna check it's appropriately updated or not. This technology is called idempotent, and I'm gonna just check logwatch. Yes, the logwatch is installed. Logwatch is installed, so I think I can use sudo logwatch. You do not have permission to create a temporary directory under you are not running a supervisor, so just use sudo. It is going to create some directory. It's going to take some time. And check whether htop is installed on all the machines. Yes, you can see htop is installed. And check logwatch is installed or not. Sudo logwatch. It's going to take some time for logwatch, but anyhow logwatch is installed on this machine. Check htop. Yes, it's installed. Sudo logwatch -n, and we need to use any kind of parameters for. Yeah, I can see logwatch is executed properly. Logwatch is executed. Logwatch is executed. What does this logwatch do? Logwatch is nothing but it is gonna check what are the logs available for today, yesterday, and day before yesterday, and it's gonna throw us output. You can just run the command logwatch. It is gonna recapture the data again. That's why it's taking a lot of time. Now, if I remove logwatch in 151, what I'm going to do is sudo yum remove logwatch. Yes, I removed logwatch, and again, if you run the Ansible Playbook task file, this task is going to ask, should I install these packages? If no problem, if you just type enter, if the package is already installed, it is not going to affect. If it's not installed, it is going to install back on 151, which I just removed. It can show the status changed to yellow. This is how we are going to do deployment in Ansible and orchestration, which is very quick, very fast, and it's going to help us in a big infrastructure environment. So check again, logwatch is installed. Oh, no, yeah, it's installed. That's why it's asking me to remove. So I can just choose logwatch hyphen logwatch. I think I removed using yes. No worries. So this is how the task engine, and it's going to prompt me a pass, prompt me for everything if I want to just install the below packages as shown below. If I want to uninstall all packages, just instead of going to each machine and uninstall in all servers, so I can do is I can vim, I can just change the state installed to absent. So let's see whether it's going to uninstall logwatch in all the machines. So install is a variable which we are getting. Yeah, it is going to uninstall the packages on all the machines, because the reason why it's showing green here is I just uninstalled it logwatch here in some time back. You can see the logs are already available. I can see that we have already removed logwatch, so it's going to do like this. If I want to remove all htop packages to be uninstalled, go here and just put the stuff to uninstall the below packages. Uninstall the instead of below, we can just type logwatch and htop packages. Just change the installed state to absent. Just save it and run the command. It's going to uninstall htop and all, uninstall the logwatch. It's going to show me the prompt, and it's going to uninstall packages. Rerun it again, it's going to show green because already packages are uninstalled. So that's it with the task section from Ansible. So to go further, we are going to use something called handler in some time. Thank you for the lecture, and let's start with the handler section. Thank you for listening to my lecture in few minutes. Hello, hello everyone, and we are in the middle of the Ansible course for configuration management and deployment. I am Praveen, and we were in middle of the class of writing a playbook. We discussed a few sections earlier. We discussed to write for first playbook. We discussed how to use variables in such a types like how to use variables inside the playbook, how to use variables external to the playbook, how do you use the variables as a kind of prompts. We used mm, okay, so we used how to write playbooks via target section. We know how to write playbook via task section as of now, as we did some time back. We are going to start playing with handler section now, and to understand what handler section is, let's go just check again the configuration details. So we can just go to etc ansible host ansible, and you can see the host we have defined two hosts in Apache Web, one host in app server. If you just mention all, it's going to check all, and let's going to check the communication of Ansible within all the hosts and all the nodes. You can just use Ansible all -m ping. It's going to ping all the machines, going to check whether Ansible is able to check on all the machines, and everything is working as expected, as we did from the starting of the class. um, Now, to explain handler section, let me go to my home directory of test in my master server, and just ll or llu, you can see a list of all the files. Before that, let me just reconfigure again. These servers are running in Amazon Management Console here in this which we launched in the first class, and I'm doing everything in my master server. So back to the master server, I go to my playbooks directory where we have a lot of playbooks which we created from first. I'm gonna um, copy one of the latest playbook which we did for tasks. Copy it. So I'm gonna I'm gonna use copy -pr, select the task one, copy it, paste it again, rename it to handler dot YML. YML is extension for YAML files. And to explain the handler concept now, to understand what handler is nothing but if a task is completed and it should be linked to a kind of mechanism where consider a kind of Apache server or a Tomcat server where only the installation will not do. You want to start the services of that particular Apache server. How do we do that? Handler is the best way. If you just want to send the file of there's another example. Consider if you want to just send a file, you can just use task. But if you want to just send a file and verify the format of that file, you can use a handler section. So it's an extra step apart from task section. So I'm going to just open my handler YAML file. My first playbook underscore handler YAML, and I'm going to just add with tasks, then with handlers. What I am going to show now is I'm going to remove all the variables, unwanted variables which we defined here. I'm going to remove them. Let it be a prompt. So let me just change it to install. Oops. I'm going to just delete this and put it. Remember, don't use tab, use space, prompt :space install Apache web server and restart its services. So before that, let me just I don't want to do it on all hosts every time. I'm going to change this to Apache web host itself, as the name suggests. So only 2 machines will be affected as per the hosts group which we defined earlier. And the task part is I'm gonna just change install the Apache web server packages, and just typing the spelling wrong. Packages, install the Apache web server packages. Once we did that, we're gonna use state equal to present. Oops, that just checks whether the application is HTTPD is present or not. I'm going to use installed space state equal to installed and update. Oops. So this is getting messed up. So what I'll do is state equal to, delete this, state equal to installed update underscore cache equal to true. Remember the package is still logwatch. I'm going to change it to HTTPD. Perfect. After that, I want to start the service of this machine. I want to start the service of the Apache server. How do you do that? Just remove this unwanted task of htop. I'll write a new name called handlers. So handlers, general code colon, put enter, hyphen space name, restart HTTPD, and put the space action. What action you should do for a handler? Service is the module we are using. Name equal to HTTPD is a service which we need to restart. State equal to restart. This playbook, what does it do is it grabs the information from hosts. The Apache web has 2 nodes. It's going to take those 2 nodes. It uses the username test. It uses sudo is equal to yes. It wants sudo privileges. It avoids me to use -s option every time I run the playbook. It is going to connect to using SSH protocol that's defined in a target. It is going to use gather underscore facts, that's marked as yes. Apart from that, it's going to use some kind of variable prompt, such as it's going to ask the permission whether you need to install Apache web server and restart its services and perform the below tasks. Yes, it's going to install Apache web server packages, and it's going to start the cache and start installing. But we have added one more line at the bottom of the task named handlers. What does this handler do? Once the task is installed, it is going to restart the services of HTTPD. But let me just save it and try to run it via check file. What I can do is Ansible Playbook, and my first playbook, we can just check handlers, isn't it? Handler is the file, and I can just check hyphen check option. It's going to ask install Apache web server and restart its services. Remember, it is just check. It is going to tell us whether HTTPD will be installed on these two machines. Yes, just check will tell, okay, HTTPD is installed on these two machines. Yeah, if I just remove the check option and install, let the Apache server be installed on the two machines. It's showing some error. I think it's gonna ask for dependency. I think we need to use any kind of package, HTTPD package, like I'm gonna use something called star. Use a package HTTPD star. It's gonna install every package. Let me try that. Hopefully it is going to install. Yes, that's right. It installed a couple of packages, and it is just working fine now. So it's installed on 158 and 157. Let me check whether it's installed or not. PS AUX grep-i grep-i HTTPD. It's not installed. Oops, I'm wrong here. It is installed. Let me check using sudo yum list installed grep-i HTTPD. Yes, it's installed. But why the processes are not showing? Let me check the status system CTL HTTPD status, unknown operation status, and maybe like I need to use reverse status HTTPD. Yeah, HTTPD is loaded and it's inactive. As per my playbook here, it should execute and restart the services, isn't it? Let's rerun it again. It's gonna ask install Apache web server and restart its services. Why is it the services are not getting restarted? So the simple logic for this here is, if you just open the VIM, you open the file here, you can see the task and the handler section are not at all interlinked. You want to make sure that this handler section will be working fine when these machines are interlinked with these tasks and handler. How do you interlink it? You can use a kind of event notifier. There's a module called event. We need to notify an event for that. So what we can do for that is add another line here of below the task named notify, and that notify should have the name same as which you used in the handler. What does this do is, like, once the task is finished, it is going to notify the handler to run the services. That's what is being done. So let me start doing it again. Try running the Ansible stuff, a playbook package. Let me just see whether I can able to restart the services on this machine. So when I go to the client machine and I just check whether HTTPD is there, it's showing dead. I think I need to check in 157 158. Let me check PSAUX HTTPD. So let me check in other machine 157 HTTPD. it's not there. So I think we need to make a little more changes here to work it fine. Service, so action is service name equal to httpd state equal to restarted. I think I need to remove this kind of task, because when you're using action task, we need to use action task here. Hopefully that will fix my error. So let me just change it to action is to yum name equal to, there's not much difference, but if you're using the same scenario like action, then it will be always good. httpd state equal to installed state equal to install. Let me just try running this. Installed. I'm gonna use httpd star, because it is having a dependable packages, so it should install dependability. Yeah, fine. Let me see if it's able to restart service. No, it's not able to restart the service. Yeah, we need to fix that now using a state called restarted, and it's gonna work fine. Okay, so what I can do is verify the handler is functioning good or not. Is the handler functioning good? Handler name restart httpd notify yum installed restarted service name httpd. Let me see, this is functioning good. Systemctl status systemctl status httpd. It's gonna see whether it's active or not, and now we can see that when I just try to read this and re-executed the command of handler, I can just open it and reread it again. What we can do is just use vim and see the read through the command line command prompt again. We just running it to a couple of hosts in Apache Web, and as discussed, we are going to install httpd on web server packages. Earlier the service was not running because I missed this d at the particular notification, so I just added this d, and handler name and the notification name should always match, and it should make sure that the service is running. Service httpd is running, or we need to restart. Since the services are not started, we gonna go give a started service is equal to started. Let me see, and let's run this playbook file again now. Let's see whether it's gonna run playbook file again now. Yeah, it's gonna see and see the any kind of processes are running at the back end in these machines. I can see Apache is running now, httpd is running now, and the same thing is running here as well. So we just status, you can see the services are running. You can just check the processes as well, Apache and processes as well, and Apache. Then what we can do is httpd. So what we can do now is like if I don't want the service to be running, I just want service to be stopped. What I can do is I can just remove change to stop. So let's see if it's going to function at the same way as it's going to start. If it's any error, it's going to change us. Let me see back again here. Yeah, it is not going to start because Yeah, here you can see that we are having the service not started because we did it on app server. Fine. So this is the way of handler functionality is really good because you can able to link the files easily using handler functionality. You can just see the handler YAML configuration. Again, I'm going to reread the handler configuration again. We can see that the host is running this prompt and it's going to run this Apache server. Make sure that you are using HTTPD and state is equal to installed, and restart the HTTPD. That name should match with this name, and it's going to action service name is equal to stopped or restarted, or we can just put restarted and rerun it again. Run the playbook now. Run the playbook, and it's going to ask me the prompt and just put enter. So okay, just check whether the processes are running or not. It's running. Check here, it's running again. This machine should not run because we are not put that into my configuration file. Perfect. So this is the main important concept of handler, and we were in middle of writing the handler playbooks, and it's all good now. I hope you guys understood the various sections, like of writing a first playbook, how to include variables inline and xline, and from prompt mode, and you guys have checked with how to install and how to write a playbook using target section, how to write a playbook using task section, how to write a playbook using handler section just now. So in the next few lectures, we want to discuss how to actually outline your playbook and convert that playbook into a convert the outline into a playbook as you defined. So we need to write in a plain sheet of text file where what are the stuffs that needs to be done, convert them into a playbook. That we were going to take care in the next coming few slides, a few lectures. So let's start with outlining your playbook now. Let's start how to outline the playbook now. So what I want to do is, like, I just create one file outline in my file using text. That's a text file, and write down all the stuff what is required to create a playbook. Like I need the following things to be done in an end machines or clients. First thing is web server. As we know, it requires web server or hosts. User, sudo write privilege. This I'm just writing in a simple text to outline how does writing a playbook, or how does you write a playbook using just a normal outlining it. You are just putting a boundary. We are outlining we are outlining a stuff where we can make sure everything is done in a normal way. We want date slash time stamp. We want installation of Tomcat server. We want start of that okay we want start of that Tomcat service. What is a Tomcat service? Start service sus, and verification of the any kind installation of client software, installation of client software, like log watch and htop. Log all packages into a destination system or source system, and date and time stamp ends. Here it starts. So we are just outlining a playbook and we're going to save it. You use more outline.txt. These are the stuffs I need to do now. what we will do now is I'm gonna create I'm gonna convert this outline into a playbook file. How do I do that? What I need to do is just use vi outline, just copy that vi outline dot text to outline my first playbook underscore outline dot yml. Vim that my first playbook dot underscore outline dot yml, and we are having the same stuff. So we will need to add the Ansible YAML language code one by one. Now I'm going to write Ansible YAML file using this outline which we have designed. And how do I do this? Just go to the end of the file. We want a web server or a host. As we were discussing, we need to write host is to some app server. So this is a app server group which is having single host, and I'm going to type we want user. That user should be test, and it's very simple. Just write the outline, then translate into an YAML language or a playbook language. Sudo, we require sudo privilege. Yes, that's required. We require to gather underscore facts. No, we don't want to gather any facts at the temporary location. Now write the tasks. Task is nothing but we require a date and time that should be started, isn't it? So name. So task should start always with a name. This record start date and time. This is the task. So how do I do that? I can usually do using raw command. Raw is a kind of task name. You can just go through Ansible raw. We need to see how does the date command execute rawly. So we can just see date. We want this to be recorded, right? We want this to be recorded, but we need to know how does it date run. So we need to type date, which date. So it's going to copy this user bin date or normal date. Let's see whether it's same thing here. Which date? Yeah, bin date. Copy that and paste it here, bin date. And whenever the task date is run in the virtual machines, it is going to go and paste in a destination home directory called playbook start dot log. What does the next thing need to do? So we need to do is name install the Tomcat server, and we know how to install using yum module. Yum package equal to Tomcat equal to state equal to latest. So what does this state latest mean? Latest means if there's a package already installed, it is going to upgrade to the latest level. If there is no upgradation available, it is not going to tell us. If it is the package that should be installed mode, that means it's going to install the package which is currently available. If you put a latest parameter, then it's going to upgrade the package which is already installed as well. So what I mean to tell that even though the packages are already installed in the destination machines, if they are not upgraded, then I can use latest command in the module in the particular playbook file to make sure that they are upgraded, the Tomcat are getting upgraded. The next thing is name. So what other thing is like we need to start the Tomcat services. So how do I start the Tomcat services? It's something with HTTPD, isn't it? So what we can do is start the Tomcat services. How do I start using service module? Service is to name equal to HTTPD equal to state equal to restart. So we have done till now, we have defined the host, we have defined the user, we have defined the sudo and write privileges. We have make sure that we had put the date and time start time privilege. We have put the tasks for that installation of servers, start of the Tomcat services, installation of client software like logwatch and htop. So we need to add this as well in our task now. This is the way you need to outline your playbook and convert them into a playbook file. So what I'm going to do now is like name and type verify. Okay, before that we need to start the client softwares or install them. So how do we install them? It is as simple as it. We used to follow the M module, right? So it's used to yeah, in order to find the M module, what we can do is copy this yum package equal to htop state equal to installed. I don't want to install a later stage. Name, so I don't think so. We can give that name. Yeah, let's give the name okay. So start the client. So I don't think so we can give this. We can just give the module. We have already given the name yum package equal to log watch state equal to installed. So we have done this. Then we need to make sure that log all the packages into destination systems. How do I make sure the logging all the packages into destination systems? Okay, so we need to make sure the logging of all the packages into the destination system. How do we do that? We just need to make sure that we are just copying yum list installed into the destination. Maybe that is the thing. So what we need to do is hyphen name log all packages into a particular location. See how big we are writing an Ansible playbook file, and if you are known the outline, then we can get it stuff into the play. So we are just all packages dot log. So once we did that, we're gonna save this. Eventually we can just put it any kind of result. Register is to result. Register is to result, a kind of variable. You can add on the debug values, something like this. We can just see what is happening in the backend using debug. Debug var equal to store result. We don't want this. I believe we don't want this. Now we don't want to register anything, but we want to record the date and timestamp pins. What we will do is we'll just copy this, copy the whole stuff and paste it. We're gonna record playbook end. So record end date and time. Just put it in a proper way, save it. But before saving it, we need to remove the first few lines, isn't it? We don't want these lines. We designed the outline, we designed a playbook, and we are gonna type start of the playbook like this. My first playbook with outline designed. Save it, try running it. I'm not sure because this is our own defined playbook now. It should run. If everything is correct, outline, check. Yeah, that's the reason. So, a syntax error, having a problem. User bin date, syntax error. Yeah, we need to fix the date, and one by one we need to make sure everything is fixed before we just do it properly. Yeah, this is having an issue here. So if you're designing your own playbook, it requires a lot of debugging. All packages.log. Okay. Perfect. Let's try check again. Record the end date and time. So this error, we need to fix it before we continue to run that. We need to see where else we have got the error. Package is equal to latest. Or maybe this is the one. So let me just remove one package and see whether it's going to execute properly. No. Yaml list installed. Raw. This is the stuff. We need to see whether MS Binyam. See, we'll see it's working fine or not. So I'm gonna remove that because it's having an issue. Yeah. Log watch static code installed. We are having issue again. So this is the problem if you just try to outline your own, package and make sure it's being done. We need to fix it one by one to make sure that everything runs fine and good. Serpent date. Okay. Outline the playbook and outline the playbook as well, and other facts and users and stuff. So once you have outlined the playbook, we have what we have done is like we have designed and we have written an outline, and we have make sure that playbook has been converted as well. So this is the way you can just convert your normal outline.txt file to your Ansible playbook file, but make sure that you just debug each and every stuff, write the proper spacings. This file has a lot of tab, I believe, because we missed it in some parts where we just tried to I tried to write it fast, and we missed a lot of spaces and a lot of tabs we had put. So we make sure we don't use tab in your keyboard, and go through the YAML file again and again, rerun the command and fix the issues. And this is how you convert normal outline into a playbook file. So this is a design and outline of playbook. We created a playbook from our outline and we tried to run. We got issues. The only thing is like we need to fix it. Go read through the playbook one by one, and we need to able to fix that. If you just spend a lot of time on this and see where we have got the problem, where we got the issues. But it's a very minute. If there's a spacing issues, it's going to fix it. We can able to fix it or rewrite it and convert the outline into a normal playbook file. Thanks for this particular lecture of converting a normal and designing of playbook and converting them into an YAML file. So design and outline has been continued as well. In the furthermore lectures, we are going to check how to run a playbook for a dry run, and how we're going to check how do you use synchronous polling. So how do you set an synchronous polling inside a kind of YAML file? How do you run an playbook in interactive mode? How do you run tags? So there are four more on run ones. There are five more chapters lectures concerned for the playbook. So let's continue after some time. So let's continue trying a playbook for dry run in some time. Thank you for listening to this lecture. Welcome back to the course of Ansible. I am Praveen, and we are explaining and in middle of the Ansible course framework. Ansible is a tool of configuration management and deployment. Um, we have already completed 3 to 4 modules where we have started introducing Ansible, and we have deployed a kind of Ansible packages, start working on writing playbooks, and we tested a lot of codes, a lot of playbook stuffs involved, and we started writing first Ansible playbook, tested it, executed it, and it ran fine. So let me just explain the overview of setup again. So we have just used 3 of the Ansible. We have just used 4 nodes from Amazon EC2 cluster. We are considering master node as Ansible master. We have logged in into the putty session, and we have made passwordless SSH across all the accounts. In order to just verify whether Ansible network is intact, we are going to type Ansible hyphen m Ansible hyphen r hyphen m ping module. It's going to check the status of all the machines. If it is going to show one yellow or red, then the Ansible network is like, it's having a problem. So check this every time, Ansible all hyphen m ping, to make sure that we are appropriately connected and passwordless authentication has been designed. Okay, so the next step is like we just learned how to write a playbook, a simple playbook. We just checked how to write a variable. We just checked how to write a target section. We also checked how to write a task section, handler section, and we wrote a kind of outline of the particular document, and we tried to convert the outline into a normal playbook file where we just got some errors. We need to just go and fix it one by one and remove unwanted spaces, so it's going to execute as requested. That's it. So from now we are going to start with something called Ansible playbook for a dry run. Yeah, as I discussed earlier, so we need to just make sure that how do you make sure that your playbook can be run as a dry. Let me grab any kind of playbook which is available in my first playbook directory. What I do is like I just go to handler playbook or any kind of tasks playbook. I'm going to copy the task playbook and rename it as the topic which we are looking at. It's like we are just working on the topic called dry run, so dry underscore run dot yml. So okay, we are just editing 2 files to edit. If you just use vi along with one file, and it allows us to edit 2 files. We need to copy it, so we just copy this and paste it and rename it with dry run underscore dry underscore run dot yml. Excuse me. The moment I copied it, I'm going to just try editing this file. So this file is actually existed in such a way that it's going to run on all hosts. It have a user target defined, sudo target defined, connection is ssh, gather facts, yes. It has some variables which we are not defined, we are not using. It has a prompt, variable prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to particular stuff where we require those prompts. Check for dry run. So check for dry run, it's going to ask us whether should I check for dry run. What exactly dry run means? Dry run means is actually equivalent to you use a concept called hyphen check. So we use a term called dry run for that. So if someone tells, hey, can you just check this playbook or check the dry run of this particular playbook, then we need to run the playbook along with the option hyphen check. So that makes us to dry run. So what does it make? It actually checks whether I can able to perform any kind of operation at the destination end. But in reality, it does not do any kind of changes. It just checks and showcases as, yes, this can be possible or this is not possible. But in reality, as I told, it is not going to change anything in the reflection at the client end or the destination end. So what we need to do now? We need to just write tasks and check whether able to do a dry run. So we're gonna install state installed okay, installed update cache. We're gonna install the htop package. save this. The moment we save this, and we're gonna use the command as I told sometime back. Usually I use it frequently, Ansible Playbook, and copy this YAML file and paste it. But before that, let me just go through that file. It is going to execute on all the hosts, so make sure that it is going to install logwatch and htop on all the servers. So Ansible Playbook is going to install run, but if you just do it without any hyphen check option, it is going to implement it. If I do hyphen check, then this is called a dry run. Check for dry run, yes, this is actually showing the dry run stuff. Excuse. As you can see here, the task is changing on all the machine. That means it is actually not changing in reality. It is just showing a dry run concept. It is just showing what if in case this playbook is executed without hyphen check option. But since it's showing yellow color for all the tasks which is changed, if I just go to this particular 58, check whether we have logwatch or htop installed or not. Yamlist installed. Check whether they installed or not. It is going to show not installed because we have just did it dry run. This concept of Ansible playbook is called dry run concept. It is usually used in applications and testing teams where they ask you to just check this playbook for a dry run. So we can use this concept and check it via hyphen check option. And we can observe that we are getting frequent error of warning. So we need to depreciate warning in ansible.cfg. So let me do that instead of getting it every time when I run Ansible command. So what we can do is go to etc Ansible path, and before that, just let me just copy this depreciation warnings and edit the ansible.cfg file. Search for depreciation warnings. It is depreciation warnings is equal to hash. Remove that hash. Save it. Ups. I need to use sudo for this, so that's why it's not allowing me to save. So use sudo in front of vi. Edit it and just search for depreciation warnings and just remove the hash. The moment you do that, I think the next time when I run Ansible command, it's not going to show the error. And this time when I use without check option, that is nothing but this is with check option is a dry run, without check option is a normal execution. Just run it, could not be found. That because I am in different path. I need to go to my test home directory, go to playbooks, Ansible playbook, and paste the copy this particular YAML file, paste the YAML file, execute it. It's asking, it is ask okay, check for dry run. Since before that I need to just fix this. I thought it's not it's not getting fixed. So what I will do is sudo vim etc ansible.cfg depreciation. Okay, I'm just gonna okay, then I need to show depreciation. I need to search the depreciation. Okay, just save it. Just copy this. The depreciation warnings can be disabled by setting depreciation is equal to false in ansible.cfg. Let me just search that. It's equal to false. Yeah, I need to set this false. I just gave it true. Let me just save this. Run the Ansible command again, playbook command. Now we can see we are not getting that error. So make sure you just set depreciation warning as false. Check for the dry run. This is going to install the logwatch package and htop package because we have not used the dry run hyphen check option. This is going to change in all the machines. So I just go to check whether htop is installed or not. Now we can see htop is installed, and also we can just check whether we can have logwatch installed or not. Yeah, we have logwatch installed as well. So the same thing we can just do here. Yamlist installed grep -i htop, you can check it, and we can just check log watch whether it's installed or not. Log watch is installed as well. If I now use and edit that particular dry run YAML file, and I make log watch and Ansible htop package as absent, so it is going to uninstall the package. It's going to uninstall the package. Okay, it's going to uninstall the package now, and I'm going to just change the htop state to absent, installed. Okay, so I have two tasks now here. So one task is to install a log watch, and I have installed it earlier, and another task is to install htop. We have installed it earlier. I want to uninstall the package, so just change the name install to uninstall. And we are having task here. We are going to change this install to uninstall. We have a package log watch state equal to absent, and update equal to cache. So this is what we will do now, but I just save this. If I am executing the Ansible playbook without -- check option, then it is going to do the changes. But I'm going to do -- check whether it's going to do it properly. Yes, it's going to change. But if you just go check here, the package is still existing because the dry run has been done. Dry run has been done is just checking whether I can do that or not. So just check sudo yum list installed grep-i. We can use log watch, check whether package is available or not. Yes, we have installed. If we want to make it permanent without any -- check option, we can make it permanent. This will remove all the packages from all the hosts mentioned. It's just so quick. The Ansible is so quick to affect the changes. You can just see the thing. It is not there available right now. It's removed the package within seconds. So this is a real run. The other one with -- check option is a dry run. So that's it with Ansible checking dry run, and let's dive into the next lecture called asynchronous polling. What does this asynchronous polling does? We just go to, before implementing in a playbook, let's go to asynchronous polling in Ansible. What we can do is just check what is asynchronous polling before we just see what is happening in the playbook. By default, tasks in playbooks block. By default, tasks in the playbooks block, meaning the connection stay open until the task is done in each node. This may not be always desirable, or you may be running operations that take longer than SSH timeout. So understand here what is meant by asynchronous, but why are we using asynchronous when it's having a good Ansible technology where we are able to deploy everything in seconds. So by default in the task which we have in the playbook, right? So we can just go to my task here. We can just go to my first playbook. I can just open my tasks .yml. We are having two tasks here. One task is to install a log watch. One task is to install a htop package. What is asynchronous polling doing here? By default, we know that the playbooks work as a block. It is going to execute top to bottom. It is going to execute from top to bottom. From top to bottom, it is going to install log watch first, then it is going to install htop package. Till then the htop package should remain silent, isn't it? So it does the top to bottom approach. Install log watch should be done, then htop package will be done. If there's a problem in log watch, then htop package will not be executed. So that's what is asynchronous actions doing here. So meaning the connection stay open until the task in each node is completed. So first task connection open, does the task connection close. This may not always be desirable, or you may be running operations that take a longer than SSH timeout. The easiest way to do this is to kick them off all at once and then poll until they are done. To launch a task asynchronously, specify the maximum runtime and how frequently you would like to poll for status. The default poll is for 10 seconds, and if you do not specify for the poll. So what does this do? If there's a task which is taking for a longer duration, we know this log watch patch takes only seconds, but if there are tasks in application deployment or kind of server deployment, there are longer duration, takes almost like more than few minutes, then we can actually use this asynchronous poll option. Asynchronous poll option is something like it is going to continue the next task, and every 5 minutes it is going to poll up till it counts 45 seconds. So simulate long running up 15 seconds, wait for 45 seconds, and poll every 5 seconds. So if I just want to use this in my command here in Ansible, okay, so if you want to check this, let me use this in my Ansible Playbook command. Vi Ansible vi playbook.async asynchronous, sorry, it's a playbook underscore async dot yml. Paste it and save it. Check the Ansible playbook for a dry run. So okay, so it's gonna check for the connection via SSH. It is showing failure because the Ansible file does not have the host. Remote user is mentioned as root. I need to change to test. Now you can see it's a chest check and simulate long running op 15 seconds, wait for up to 45 seconds, and poll for every 5 seconds. So you don't want the task there. If there are 100 tasks, if there are 10 tasks, if it's getting one task is getting a lot of time, so what we need to do, we can just put in this option called asynchronous equal to 45. That means it is going to wait for 45 seconds and it is going to poll after 45 seconds 5 seconds once. So what am I to tell that is just let me explain clearly here. So if task 1 is taking a lot of time, what we can do, put is like async is to 45. That means break that for 45 seconds. After 45 and continue with the task, continue with rest of tasks. Let it wait for 45 seconds, continue its task, continue the rest of task for 45 seconds, and poll for every 5 seconds. Poll for every 5 seconds for completion to check if the task 1 is completed or not. Hope you understand. So task 1 will keep on executing, but it is going to wait for 45 seconds to continue for rest of the task, and after 45 seconds it is going to check whether task 1 is completed or not. So this is what is the stuff. It is going to skip those tasks which is taking for a longer time and continue with the rest of the task. It's going to skip the task and continue with the rest of the task. See here, if the task is taking 15 seconds, it's because it's a longer duration. 15 seconds is a longer duration. It is going to skip all the tasks and it is going to execute the commands. It's going to skip all the tasks. If the task is having less duration, like less than maybe like if I put a sleep for 3 seconds, so task is not it is not very long duration. Let me just check what is going to happen. It is going to skip even though if it is like less than 3 seconds, because it's 3 seconds is a huge time again. What I can do is, if I put it 0, that means it does not sleep at all. Let's see what is the check command does. So it's going to be the same output. Let me just see what Ansible documentation says. Is we need to poll is equal to 0. That means we need to change poll is equal to 0. $10. Let's sleep for 10 seconds and poll equal to 0. Okay, cool. So hope you understand, like it's going to skip the tasks if in case it wants to take for a longer duration and continue with other tasks until 45 seconds or whatever seconds you specify, and poll every 5 seconds later. We can implement the same thing in our Ansible, my Ansible first playbook. So let us put it in the same stuff where we are having tasks draw dry run, which is copy this. We're copying this and we are changing the name from dry run to async poll.yml. Clearing it, just checking the latest file async poll, editing that file. Oops, we're going to edit that file. We're going to edit that file and we are going to put the async stuff after the tasks. Let me just check. After the command which is executed. So here async is to async is to 300 and we are having poll is to 3. So this command does it. Just execute it. Ansible Playbook, and it's going to function the same way, but remember this is going to do it at the back end. This is going to do it at the back end. So this is important concept when if you are using it during a kind of timelined environment or in a kind of production environment where you can just do it that should be completed within a particular time frame. Rerun again, check for the dry run. The reason it's asking for dry run because we have already put that prompt in variable. It's uninstalling the log watch. Since it's taking quick time, let me just change it and install it. Let me install htop. Just run it again. Since the task name I have given uninstall, but it's actually doing an installation. It's going to install change. Yes. At the back end, it is just still polling for 45 for every 5 seconds and waiting for 45 seconds. I think we can use -v option. Let's see if it's getting a verbose output. That's right. So you can just check out if you use -v option, it is going to show us the stuff which is going to do at the back end. If I use V option, then it's going to take in overall it is going to explain completely, and you can see the asynchronous polling is happening here. Asynchronous polling is happening for every 15 to 16 seconds. If I use -v, then it's going to show us properly about the asynchronous polling. It's going to show us everything. If I use V, not required as of now, we can just use V to make sure that asynchronous is happening properly. To verify that async is happening, you can see the async poll is happening using one YAML file, and for the second task its asynchronization is happening. So this shows that asynchronization is very much important, and hope to go through the Ansible documentation pages for clear understanding of asynchronous polling in Ansible. It is usually mostly used in a production environment. Thank you for this lecture, and let's dive in further for another task called interactive playbook. This is one of the important tasks where we can use this playbook as a kind of interactive tool for someone who wants to just stick to lesser commands and not much aware of the Ansible technology, and he just wants to get a prompt to make sure that everything is handled smoothly and everything is done smoothly. We are gonna show one example how interactive playbook is gonna work. How can we demonstrate interactive playbook on a lab setup which we are having here. We are having a lab setup as discussed earlier. We are having 4 servers in Amazon cloud server, and we are having nodes, 3 nodes and 1 master server. We are connected using Ansible. To verify Ansible is working fine, Ansible all -m ping, it's gonna poll and check whether it's working fine or not. We can do the same thing in any kind of node. Ansible, if there is any kind of glitches, it is going to show all -m ping. Here we can't check it because the host is not provided. The etc Ansible host file is not available. So that's the reason we are doing everything in the master Ansible server. So let's start with interactive playbook and how do we use interactive playbook in our environment to make sure that it is going to be so much effective for someone who does not know Ansible, and he can just start using interactive playbooks. It's a kind of script. Let's start now writing an interactive playbook. We can just start with a scratch for writing an interactive playbook. Okay, before we start, I have some questions, I believe. Just okay, fine. Okay. Okay, so we are going to start with writing interactive playbook. So let's go to my machine here, check whether the Ansible has been intact. Yes, it's intact with all the machines. I just write my interactive playbook.yml. We are gonna start with the same thing as we did with other playbooks. So what we will go now is as started. This is my interactive playbook, and we're gonna define the host with a single host. We are defined the host Apache Web. So let us discuss with Apache Web, which has 2 hosts, as we discussed in some class. That's the original setup. User, we are using test. We are not using root. Sudo is to yes. Connection is to SSH. Gather. Remember, we are not using tabs. We are using space bars. Gather underscore facts is to no. We are using a kind of variables which is gonna tell us what type of playbook function we have. We are having playbook underscore version is 20.01b. After that, we are going to have a prompt, as we discussed some time back. We are having a prompt here. So variable prompt. So we are having a name. So remember from first, this is we are creating interactive playbook where we are having host defined, user defined. So this is not getting in color mode. So what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to do vim my interactive playbook, open it, and I can see its color, so that you will have a better differentiation. Hyphen name. So we are creating a prompt, variable prompt, called package to install. This is not having a colon, package to install, and what we can do is prompt install which package. So we're going to install which package. If in case you do not specify which package should be installed, the default package that is going to install is a telnet. Apart from that, we are having private. The package is private, or package is not private. You're gonna put no. So tasks. So just to go ahead, follow up with the playbook, and you will understand what am I trying to do here with an interactive way. Because someone who does not know how to do from scratch can able to do it via interactive way is always best, and that there will be no prone for errors. So name is install the indicated package. So did plus tab, which is not good. Yum is to package equals package to install state equal to latest. Okay, so this is what is interactive package, interactive playbook for installing any package, interactive playbook for installing any indicated package. So have, if you have observed closely, earlier when we were trying to install package, we used to specify the package that should be installed in a playbook. We used to mention we will install telnet, or we're going to install ftp, we're going to install logwatch, we're going to install htop in playbook package. But every time we don't want to use the particular playbook, or we don't want to modify the particular playbook every time and rerun the playbook for the tasks to be completed, what we can do is we can do it in interactive way. This playbook here does the job in an interactive way. So what does this do is, like, it has defined hosts Apache Web, where it is going to have two hosts installed, and which is using a user test, and which is also having a pseudo privileges as defined in a playbook, and it is not gathering any facts. We are having a variable called playbook version 0.01b. If you use a kind of variable prompt, we are used a variable prompt called package to install. We have called that variable into a task. So this is where we are able to use the variables appropriately. So it's something like, if you run this kind of package, or if they run this kind of playbook, it is going to ask us which package should I install. If you want to install ftp, if you want to install yum, you can install any kind of packages via this. But if you're not able to install anything, then you just press enter. By default, it is going to take telnet. And the private is something which is going to ask us whether it is installed at the backend privately, or it should be publicly. Just mention no, it is not required as of now, but it's good to mention no. um, yes, that's right. So this is going to work interactively and ask us whether this should be, it's going to ask which package should I install. I just mentioned the package name, and it's going to do it by fast, instead of writing playbook file for each and every package, or each and every work that should be written in a playbook. We can just do it interactively and give to the customer, or give to the uh, L1 engineer. He can able to make sure that it does fast, and there's less prone to errors. I'm going to execute this. So just check step by step how it is going to function. So when I just execute this, I think we are having a kind of problem there. We're going to fix that. Yes, wars underscore prompt name. So we are having any issues here, is like I need to fix that issue. Package, install the indicated package to install, okay. Tell name prompt, perfect. So I think we need to use, let's see if this is going to function good. Pending line appear, the error appears to be in the playbook line 8 column 8, maybe elsewhere in the depending syntax problem. The offending line appears to be here. So let me just go edit this and see if it is able to do it without any issues. Okay, so let me compare with other variables which I did. um, okay, this does not have a variable task. it does have a way to vars underscore prompt is to. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cat this interactive playbook, copy this whole thing, and I'm gonna paste this in my notepad here. So I will just open a sync poll, replace with my interactive playbook. This is the way you can troubleshoot if your playbook does not function as expected. YML, and I'm gonna edit this my interactive playbook. We all know that this is not required. We can just put was as to playbook underscore version to 0.01b. Then was underscore prompt is gonna prompt, and it's gonna prompt install which package. Name is to package to install. pkg to install which package. Install which package. We can use default is telnet. I'm sorry for that. Default is telnet for this, so we're gonna use telnet, and private is not required, I believe, but let's put private as well. So what we can put is private. No, I'm gonna remove this task, everything, and copy the task which I have. Copy it and package to install, save it. But this is having yum problem, isn't it? Perfect. So the code looks pretty good. Let's change the heading. Then let us try. Hopefully it's gonna work now. Okay, so it's having some issues here. It's gonna should be written as with items. Yeah, that's right. We need to write with items. I haven't written that as well. Which package with items? Fine. Let's go and fix that issue now. Interactive playbook package to install. Okay, so what we need to write now is we were discussing on interactive playbook, and we were just fixing on the YAML playbook configuration file, and it is supposed to see that we were used to design we were designing the interactive playbook file. I have the interactive playbook file in my hand, and I'm just going to do Vim interactive playbook. If the YAML file or the playbook file is not written appropriately, we need to fix it and make sure it's working fine. So this is an interactive playbook which we were discussing till now. So interactive playbook for installing packages by a non-Ansible user. So what does this do? It's like it is going to install all the packages on all the host using a user test, having a sudo privileges, having yes. This is going to connect to SSH. It does not gather any facts. It uses the variable playbook version 0.01b. What we have designed here is, like as I explained earlier, like interactive playbook is something which we are going to do on an real-time basis, where earlier we used to install packages by writing the package name here, or earlier we used to run execute command by just writing in and what command should I execute. But here it's like we are doing it interactively. So what does interactively means? Like this command, it's going to ask this playbook file, it's going to ask me which package should I install before executing a desired package. So this is going to ask me which package should I install. If in case you are not specifying any package, here comes the way. If you are not specifying any package, the by default telnet is getting installed. Here comes a picture of variable. You can define, we have defined a variable called package to install. We have called that variable in my yum package manager in this yum package protocol. So we have called this, and we are telling whatever package I mentioned here should get installed. So let's try a demo for this, which we used to face problems, but I just fixed it by just removing a kind of what's prompt, kind of variable unwanted parameters. So install the indicated package. I'm gonna save this and execute the package Ansible Playbook my interactive package playbook.yml. Just click on this. It is going to ask which package should I install. If I tell, hey, if I give this some engineer, you tell, hey, you use this playbook and just install whatever packages we want, because he is capable of installing any kind of package if it's an interactive mode, because he can't debug what is happening at the back end. So what I can tell is like, hey, I just want any kind of package, like preferably Tomcat to be installed. Like I just put Tomcat here, put enter. It is going to install on the machine, but it's already installed. It's going to show green. So I'm going to put, instead of Tomcat, I can put any other packages, something like what we can do is we can install any kind of package like NFS. Let me just sorry, VFS is not available. VFS package is not available. Try with NFS. NFS is also not available, so let's try with VIM. VIM is already installed, so you can try with htop. Htop is already installed as well. We can try with any kind of package, something like any kind of package. We can just try with any kind of package. What package we can give here? We can try with logwatch. It's already installed as well. Then I'm going to try with httpd. So let's see if it's going to, yeah, if we just try with httpd, it's not installed in 151, it's installed just now. So it is something like a normal an engineer can just try running packages. If you're not specifying anything, just put enter. It's going to install telnet, and it just works interactively. If you just modify the interactive file again, my interactive playbook, oops, if I want to uninstall packages, I can do it interactively as well. Just go to here, instead of install state, make it absent. So make it absent. So it is going to remove all the packages within seconds, which is that to an interactive mode. Just tell, hey, I just want to remove, okay, I just want to change some parameters like this. What I can do is I can make it as uninstall which package. Mention the package name in real time. Okay, I'm going to uninstall which package. If you don't specify anything, it's going to uninstall telnet on all the machines. Yeah, it's uninstalled. if you're specifying FTP to be uninstalled, just specify FTP that should be uninstalled on all the machines at any cost. If you're specifying any kind of htop, I'm uninstalling htop from all the machines because it's running playbook on all. If you want to specify only app web Apache server, we can go to Apache server. If you want to specify app server, we can specify those as well. If I want to uninstall log watch on all the machines, just log watch. Perfect, interactive, simple. So this is the way we write a Ansible Playbook interactive examples. So the next topic what we want to discuss is tag. So let's understand what is tag means. So tag is something, if you want to run a task in a playbook file, and that to a specific task, remember there will be having 10 to 15 tasks in a particular playbook file, and if you want to just execute one particular task in a playbook out of 10, or maybe like out of 5 you want to just execute only 2 tasks and leaving remaining, leaving idle the remaining task idle. So what we can do, we can mention tags. We can just put the tag name for particular task and tell, hey, I just want to execute this particular task from this particular playbook, and leave the rest empty remaining. Do not do anything on the other tasks. So this will be very useful. If imagine there are 100 servers, you have 100 tasks in one playbook file, you want to specify only one task to execute. Instead of just copying that particular task, creating another playbook file, you can just make sure that enable a tag for that. You can just make sure that that particular task will be executed of the whole playbook file. And let's do it in real time, how it's going to function, how the tags are going to function when writing a playbook. So let me go to my machine, check whether all the Ansible, check whether my all machines are pinging Ansible -all -m ping. Yes, it's going to work fine. And let me create a tag now. I'm in playbook file, so I'm going to copy -r my plus playbook task, paste it, my first playbook task tags, rename as a tag .yml. Okay, now I'm going to write first playbook via tag options. I'm going to edit this YAML file for tag, and so my first playbook with variables along with targets along with task along with tags. Okay, or maybe I can just remove this variables along with targets, along with tags is fine, rather than using all variables and stuff. So playbook with oops, yeah, oops. We're gonna remove this, and we're gonna remove my first playbook with tags. Remove this, the tags. Okay. The host will remain same, user, everything is gonna remain same. Gather facts will remain no. Excuse. So we are gonna remove pass here. We don't want any kind of variables. Control server web root, this one and this one. We directly go with tasks, and we are going to install telnet logwatch package and put it. We can just remove this. Instead of directly putting this, we are going to put item state equal to installed yes, that's right, installed. So this item is not a package name. This item we can rewrite and loop it back to some other file called with items in Ansible. So we can just write with underscore item items, then specify what are the items should I install. Should I install log watch? We can install htop, so we can just go install the log watch and htop packages. So it's very simple. We have made a link, and we have make sure that log watch and htop will be installed like a loop, below which for this particular task, we are having, right? So for this particular task we are going to put a tag called tags colon, and we are giving a tag name for that. So what tag name we are giving is packages. Perfect. So verify, we are going to verify that the package is installed. We are going to write task number 2. We're going to write verify that htop is installed. This is task 2. This is task 1. This task I have added a tag called package. For this task I will add another tag. For that I'm just wait and check out the YAML file. Verify that the htop has been installed. Okay, what I'm gonna do is raw, remove the particular command, and yum list installed grep htop, push it to home test pkg.log on all the machines. Remember, we are going to put tags for this. Tags called verification. So here we're going to put one guess for this particular package. For installation and log watch and htop packages, we are going to have a new tag. We are for verifying the htop is installed. For this new package we are having a tag called verification. We are going to change the spelling tags. Yes, so this is perfect. And let me just manually run this particular playbook file. Ansible-playbook and tags. Copy this, paste it. It is going to install log watch and htop package, and it is going to verify if it's going to check out this particular file is existed or not. I'm going to edit this. Some problem I have did here. Yeah, that's the reason. I need to go create a new file, home test.log, change it. Yeah, Ansible. If you just run the Ansible command using a playbook, it is going to install log watch. It is going to install htop. Remember, we have installed via item option. This item option is called loopback, where we can install the packages, whatever packages in a loopback. Go here, put on the item here. Instead of interactive mode, we can do like this as well. Put on the item here, put on Tomcat, put on what command, what we can do, httpd. So these are all the packages will be installed in loopback mode. Logwatch will install first, htop will install second, Tomcat is going to install third, http will going to fourth. These are all the packages. So I'm going to put packages, spelling is wrong here, so I'm going to change it to packages. Perfect. I'm going to execute now. It is going to install one by one, logwatch, htop, tomcat, httpd, and it's going to verify htop is installed. If I go to my destination machines in my test home directory, there should be a file called pkg.log, and just copy, just more that pkg.log. It is going to tell us yes, the package is installed. For every node file we are having a particular file which is created whether package is installed or not. Packages log installed, more package dot, yes, it's installed. What I will do now is so what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna remove the package. I mean not a package, because anyhow if I run the execution of this particular Ansible, it's going to install and throw us the output. Now we need to use tag function. What is the functionality, speciality of tag function is, if I just run this, it's gonna check task, it's gonna verify. I want this task to be run alone. I don't want verification to be done. How is this possible? This is possible in a case with your tags function. What I'll do now is I'm gonna remove the desktop. No, I'm gonna remove the log file. I'm gonna remove pkg.log. Yes, on the 3 nodes. pkg.log. Yes, I'm gonna remove pkg.log on 3 nodes. But once I remove this, clearing the screens in the master server, what I'm going to do now is like I want to just run this particular task, and I want to skip this task. So I'll run an Ansible playbook where it should run only task using a tag, but it should skip this so that I won't see any output here. I must not see pkg.log here. Let me just try to run that. For that, you need to use a command called Ansible-Playbook, and my interactive, no, it's, what file is that? What file we are running it here. So this is my first playbook tags. That's the file name we are bothered about now. Ansible-playbook, my first playbook docs.yml, paste it, --tags packages. Now you can see only task number 1, that is package, is being run, and I can see there is no package dot log file available here. There's no .package.log file available here. There's no package.log file available here. So if I want to run only verification, it should not show any output, because it should show an output because we have a package already installed. We're just running verification. I can see the package.log is file is formed. Just copy it and paste it. You can see there's a package file available. You can just see the difference. We are having a package.log file available. So that proves us that using a tag functionality, yeah, you can see package.log. That proves us that using a tag functionality, we can either run this task or either run package installation task. So this way you can specify yourself what task can be run in a particular playbook file. If you want to skip this task and run everything else, we can use negative option, reverse option as well. So we can just use skip-tags. Skip-tags. What does this do is like it is going to skip verification task and it's going to install the package. What does this skip-tag packages do? Okay, it is going to skip the packages, install the verification. Oops, I did not give properly. So it's going to skip the packages installation and check only verification. Now you can see task is just verified. It does not use packages task at all. So this way we can use the tag functionality. Let me just go through the my first playbook underscore tags, right? Underscore tags .yml. Go through this file. We have put this tag at the bottom, that every task will have tag at the bottom. So make sure that this task can be run alone, not to mix up with all the other tasks in the playbook. So here comes the end of a tag chapter from an Ansible point of view about the lecture. In the few more lectures in the coming slides, we're going to check out how to run only once, how to run a task only once. So let's start with that in few time. Welcome back, and we are now writing the playbook for a run once module. Hopefully we can just start writing a playbook on run once module, so we can use our demonstration playbooks which we already divided, and we can just try to explain what is a run once stuff for a playbook. So let me go to this master server, check whether my all the configuration of the nodes are pinging properly. Ansible all -m ping, just check whether it's working fine. Yeah, it's working fine. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a new YAML file. Maybe like I just copy the older file which I did just now. I just did tags, so I'm going to copy this. So make sure that the headings are all in a proper place. I'm going to rename it as my run first playbook underscore run once module. So when I do that, I can just go edit this particular file and create and explain you all what does run once means. So my first playbook with run once, the run once module. So what I'm gonna do is like it's gonna have same thing. Task is gonna change. So what I'm gonna do is the task here is change stating that log my uptime. So this one is going to change, and we're going to remove tags because this package is this playbook is not tag. Log my uptime, so we're going to put raw is 2. We're going to check where's my uptime available in my other machine, which uptime. So it's in bin uptime. Okay, what is meant by user bin uptime? User bin uptime also shows the output. So I'm going to copy this, paste it, and drive to my home test uptime.log. The next task which I'm going to have is list all the directories under var. So just keep continuing the playbook following methodology. We're going to understand what run once means and where I'm going to use that. I'm going to just remove this raw command and put ls-al/var, and we're going to put it back into /home/test/ we're going to put var directory.list. So I'm going to remove the tags, which is we already worked with tags. I'm going to put I need to use space rather than empty. Here I'm going to put run underscore once equals is to true. What is this playbook with run once module trying to do, and what is I'm trying to achieve here is the first task, log by uptime. It's gonna record the uptime and put it into home test uptime of each clients here as the code specifies. There is no uptime log here, there is no uptime log here, there is no uptime log here. So the first task is gonna run on all the hosts in the node, all the hosts mentioned here, and log the uptime. But the second task here, this is what is the criticality of run once comes into picture. It is going to list all the directories and it is going to put it back into the var direct list in the home directory, but it is going to run only once. That means it is going to run only once in the first machine listed here in the host file. So what is the first machine listed in the host file? Ansible -m all -m ping. The first machine is 158. So you can see ls-al directory listed only in this machine and it won't be available in this machine. So how can we prove that? What you can do is just execute the command run once, playbook run once, Ansible -playbook. Copy this, paste it, execute it. Now you can see the task of log my uptime is executed on all the hosts, but the task of all the list underscore directory is executed only on 151. That means it's executed on this. This is how it is taking 151 is like cat etc Ansible hosts. it is going to check reverse way, and whichever host is present in the last is going to be executed. So this way it executes, and you can see here the uptime log has been formed. It was not here in this particular thing. We have find uptime log, just more uptime. We can see it's timed 1019. The same thing should be timed here, more uptime. And yeah, 1019. I did this some time back, so we have uptime log as well. More uptime, we can see 1015. So if I rerun this particular Ansible, it is going to update that uptime log, but it is going to run the directories only once again. So it is going to show here ls-al. You can see var direct list 622 is a timeline, and date 622. So it is going to run only in this, and you can see all the files listed under here in the var directory. So but also we can see uptime has been listed, but there is no, it's updated, but here we don't find var list. It is going to execute on only on one machine, that too which comes in the last of the cat etc ansible host file. It's going to run only once. So what we can do now, just execute the command run once command again, make sure that the uptime.log file is getting updated. Yes, it's getting updated 3 times. Uptime log it's updated 4 times here because we had run earlier some time back. Uptime log 4 executed 3 times, and you can see the var direct log is getting updated as well, which is going to update only in this machine. So this is the concept of playbook, which is having a run once command. But where does we use this? This is used in kind of Unix production environment, where if you want to just run a particular query command only on particular host and not on all the other hosts, and it's going to useful depending on the requirements as per the requirement. Thank you for listening to this lecture. The next coming lecture we are going to learn about modules, and start with module number 5. But before that, let's summarize this playbook. Playbook is an important concept in Ansible. Playbooks are the configuration files which the tasks will be written, roles will be written, modules will be written, and a kind of a complex configuration file. It's easy readable in human language, and it can do multiple tasks, does configuration management, it does orchestration. It is like very useful if you implement in a production environment via Ansible. So this is not really a competition. Depending on your environment, experience, and goal, Ansible may or may not be a tool. It depends on what requirement is. Ansible does not provide some advantages overall in orchestration, but it does preclude some of its competition like Puppet, Chef, SaltStack. But you need to use Ansible depending on your requirements and on your own ways. Thank you for attending this lecture. In the next module, we're going to discuss about Ansible modules and learn Ansible different Ansible modules, how we're going to use Ansible modules in our how we are going to use Ansible modules in our playbooks. Thank you for listening to the lecture of Ansible. Thank you.